All right, folks, here we go. So today we're working on section 7.5. And with section 7.5, we are working with parts of similar triangles. So building off of some of the things we've been working with before and reviewing some of the vocab terms that we learned before. So special segments of similar triangles. If two triangles are similar, the lengths of the corresponding altitudes are proportional to the lengths of corresponding sides. So again, we have to remember a definition of altitude from a vertice to the side opposite, creating a 90-degree angle. Next one here. Two triangles are similar. The lengths of the corresponding angle bisectors are proportional to the lengths of corresponding sides. So again, angle bisector, you can see right here, that's the angles are cut into two equal parts. And the next one, if two triangles are similar, the lengths of corresponding medians are proportional to the lengths of corresponding side. Median is a line that goes from a vertice to the side opposite, cutting that side into two equal parts. So this is kind of a summary here. If two triangles are similar, perimeters, altitudes, angle bisectors, and medians are all proportional to the measure of a corresponding side. So let's go through some examples, set up some proportions, and go from here. So in this example, we have a median. So we have medians here, so we can go, and you can set up proportions in different ways. So we can go 12 over 8 in this case equals x over 5. And remember, just be consistent. If I start with 12, that means I started with this triangle here, that's on top, 12 over 8. Then I have to go with x and 5. And again, you can solve this multiple different ways. Try that at home if you want and see how you do. So now we would cross multiply and solve. 60 equals 12 times 5 is 60 equals 8x. And you divide that out and you find that x equals 7.5. Final answer. So that kind of shows you can see that, see how it goes. Next slide here, same concept. Again, we have, and again, if you want to go, we can go 9 over 6. So if you start here, over there, so then we have to go 21 over x. Again, cross multiply and solve here. 9x equals 6 times 21. So 9x equals 126. Divide that out, we get a final answer of B, 14. So again, the key, folks, is just making sure you're setting up the proportion correctly. That's the big thing. This one here is challenging in a couple different ways. First, it talks about perimeter. So we did perimeter in the last section 7.2 actually. So we want to set up a scale factor. We would have a scale factor right here of 16 over 24. So that's my scale factor, or that's my proportion or ratio between the two, and obviously you would reduce that to get your scale factor, and that reduces to 2 to 3. So you take out an 8. So that scale factor is 2 to 3. So that's the scale factor. So now what we need to do is find the perimeter. So this one here, it gives you all the sides so you can find the perimeter. I'm going to leave the square root in there just to kind of show you how that works. And if you ever have a problem that has a square root in it and an answer that has a square root in it and a multiple choice, just to show you how to work with that. So you take the 16 plus the 32 right here, so that gives you 48. And you cannot combine the 16 squared to 5. So that is actually the perimeter we're going to use for that object. So 2 over 3, and the 2 was with the 16, so this is going to go on top, equals 48 plus 16 square root of 5. And the reason, like I said, we're doing this is just to get used to working with square roots and to know that if we can't make that a decimal, if it doesn't help us, how we can still work through this problem. So what we do is 2p equals 3 times the 48 plus 16 square root of 5. And what does that do for us? So 2p equals, then you would multiply those two, and you get 144 plus 48 square root of 5. Then the last step, we divide everything by 2. And we would output the final perimeter of the object. 144 divided by 2 is going to be 72 plus 24 square root of 5. So That right there is our final perimeter. So again, just working with perimeters and also understanding how to use square roots. Okay. Also, theorem, an angle bisector in a triangle separates the opposite side into two segments that are proportional to the lengths of the other side. So Km over Lm is in proportion with Kj, or let's make this a circle, over Lj. So again, setting up proportions to be able to solve. All right, so taking a look at this one here. Again, same concept. You can set this up multiple ways. 15 over 9 equals x over 6. And you cross multiply and solve. And we get that 90 equals 9x. And when you solve, x is 10. Next slide here, same concept. And again, you can set this up however you want. You want to go n over 5. I mean, you can't set it up however you want. Just you have to be consistent. So if I go n here is similar to this. The 5 is down here, 21 over 7. So when you cross multiply and solve here, you get 7n equals 105. And when you divide that out, you output an answer of b is going to be 15. Next slide here, same concept, but this time they tell you that ED is an altitude, and they tell you that altitude in the side here, so EF is 36, so you just plug these in. ED is 18, JK is 56, and they already wrote in what they want you to find. So again, you can set this up however you want to set it up. You could go, as long as you're consistent with, so 56 over 36. And equals x over 18. So what I also say is you could actually go 56 over x equals 36 over 18. So when I say set up however you want, those are the two ways. And the main thing to be consistent with here is to make sure that you are consistent with, if you start with one object, you put that on top, then you have to be with that with the other side. 56 times 18 is 1,008. 1,008 equals 36x. When you divide that out, you're going to output an answer of 28. And if you did the same number above, you'd get the same thing up there. X is 28. Next slide here, taking a look at the height here and how we have to plug in the numbers. So we want to find the height of the pole of the smaller one, which is EC. And you actually have to use the fact that we have a median. I think it says, or it gives you some equality statements there. So if this whole thing is 80, this section is 40, and this section over here is also 40, but you break that down to 20 and 20. So how I would set this up is and again, there's a couple different ways that you can set this up. I would go 30 over 80, which means the height of this, which is the total length. And we want to find EC, so I'm just going to put in EC, and that is over 40, which is the total length of the whole thing of the bottom object there. So when you cross multiply and solve, 40 times 30 is 1,200 equals 80. We can say X or EC, whatever you want there. And when you divide, you find that X is 15. Hopefully you're getting the concept here. I have two left, and you definitely want to watch that last one. The last one's going to be a tough one here. So again, you can go 20 over, that one doesn't show up very well, so 20 over 16. So 20 over 16 equals x over 12. We can cross multiply and solve that here. 240 equals 16x. And when you divide that out, we get that x equals 15. One last one, folks, and this one you want to pay attention to. So a lot of people forgot how to do this. I think this is mainly an algebra concept here. But so if I go 14 over 6, so I go this over this here, then I want this section to be over this section. Well, we know that section's x, but we don't know this part. We don't know this distance from here to here. The whole thing is 18. The whole thing is 18, and this part is x. So how do you find it? We go 18 minus x. Think about it, if you actually had a number there with x, you would just subtract it. but you don't have that number, so you write the expression 18 minus x. So put that in parentheses, cross multiply, 14x equals 6 times the 18 minus x. And so you're actually solving this problem here. When you multiply the 6 times the 18 there, I gotta do that math real quick. So 6 times 18. So we have 14x equals 108 minus 6x. Make sure you distribute that to both sides. Add that over, you get 20x equals the 108. And so when you divide the 108 by 20, you end up with x equaling 5.4. So good one to finish with. Be comfortable and look that one over if you need. Great job, folks.